that will go. We're now joined by Eric Morris, former, of course, Texas Tech wide receiver, but now the head coach at North Texas, who joins us on 365 Sports with Craig Smoak. Out today, it's Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoak. Eric, thanks for your time. So how about the new football stadium name and the money that goes with it, the commitment that goes with it, and how a big day that is for North Texas and Denton?
Oh, it's huge. I've been practicing on how to pronounce it. Being from West Texas, my pronunciations aren't great all the time. So it's Dad Q, like the letter Q at the end. So I've been working on that. But fired up. All the stuff's going up. The signage is going up right now, and it looks fantastic. So excited to get that done. I know our athletic director's been working extremely hard on it, and it's going to be a great partnership for us moving forward.
So it's Dat Q?
Dat Q, yes, sir.
Dat Q. And for those who don't know what that means, I had this on here earlier. The Denton Area Teachers Credit Union is what that represents. Dat Q, the new name of the stadium that that you at North Texas will be playing their football games.
Coach, as you guys start this year and you have the new stadium naming rights and all the absolute, tumultuous nature of college football right now, how big is it for you guys to keep making moves as you move into a new conference, new stadium and all that, with the 12-team playoff and postseason glory now a realistic goal for teams in the AAC in other conferences like you are?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and I think it was huge, that, starting probably 12 years ago, that this university had a vision and they wanted to continue to grow, and they saw athletics as being an avenue to get there and kind of to be that front porch of the whole entire university. So being a part of, great leadership is huge during these times. I think, President, Chancellor, building a new stadium 12 years ago, 3 years ago, we built the nicest indoor in all of Texas. We're going to upgrade our facilities right at the end of this season. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I think that they had the vision. They knew that change was coming, and it's one of those things you have to be proactive right now. You never know when you wake up in the morning, you read on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now, what the newest move in college football is. And so, this is the fastest growing university in the state of Texas. We're going to have 45,000 students. And so, you learn to never say never. And I think, if we can have success on the football field, that eventually it's gonna allow us to continue to have more opportunities down the road.
Other than just you're older and more experienced, and I say older with you, you're not old at all. Why are you a better head coach now than you were at Incarnate Word?
Oh my goodness! I mean, the list goes on and on and on. For the most part, I think that my organization skills are so much better. Not only do I know how to lead a group of young men and our players, but I also know how to lead our coaches and to be a mentor to our coaches. And so, there are so many things at Incarnate Word to where, our program wasn't under a microscope and, there was no history there. Nobody expected us to win. So, you could kind of throw some spaghetti on the wall and some of it would fall off, some of it would stick, and keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, making mistakes. And then, you take notes on this. My chief of staff came with me. He was with me at Incarnate Word. We've taken so many notes over the course of the year, and just organizing, from compliance department to our academic departments to your training departments to your weight room department. I think I have a better holistic plan on how to put it all together now.
How much do you learn from each stop along the way without knowing that you want to be a head coach again or that it's going to come, but as you step up the ladder that you can apply without, like you said, you didn't have a lot of pressure to do everything right away at an Incarnate Word?
Yeah, I think that's what the great ones do. They learn. And my grandfather told me a long time ago, you can learn just as much from a dumb person as you can a smart person, learning what not to do, right? So always paying attention. But I've been blessed to be around great mentors. I mean, if you look at the coaches I've been around as a player, as a coach, and the people I've leaned on day in, day out on really how to run an organization, the list goes on and on. I mean, you talk about, Sonny Dykes, Lincoln Riley, and Dana Holgerson were my three position coaches when I was a player. And to move on, the influence that Mike Leach had on my life, and then, to be able to go with Kevin Sumlin, Cliff Kingsbury. And then really, one of the best experiences of my coaching career so far was to go to Washington State last year. And I think that Jake Dickert really helped me, see things. It's the first time I've worked from a defensive head coach, and it allowed me to see some things in a different light and a different view. And I think that's allowed me to kind of change some things on the way we practice. And some drills need to be geared to the defense and allow them to have success, while we're installing and learning. So, yeah, I've drawn from each and every coach that I've been around.
Eric, you're now a part of the American Conference. Obviously, there's change in college football. We saw the story just last week with Colorado, eventually a part of the Big 12, and who knows what else happens with that or the Pac-12. Is it at times difficult to know who's in your conference or what conference you're in?
No, not really. I think, for the one difficult thing for me right now is just the unknowns going into the American. I think, it helps a little bit that we have some people from CUSA that are making the move with us and some familiarity there, with some teams that they played here in the past. But, when you look at Tate from last year in the American, I mean, three of the best teams that were in that conference last year have now moved on. They're moving on to the Big 12. And so, I do think, it's a little bit of an unknown going into this conference. Kind of talking to some of the guys, Jeff Traylor's been a great mentor of mine, and I've spent a lot of time talking to him throughout the course of the summer. And just to kind of get familiar with the teams that he played, how our roster stacks up against these other teams. And so I'm more anxious than anything just to kind of get out there and finally, let these guys loose and put the football down and see where the chips fall. All
right, speaking of let the ball loose or see what happens, your quarterback competition is stacked. Stone Earl, Chandler Rogers, Jace Reuter. Is this going to carry in, you think? Do you want to have a starter the week before your opening game? Is that what you'd like, or do you think it's going to take a while?
No, absolutely. We need one. My goal is to have it by our second scrimmage. That way we can kind of get into a mock game week, and that's when school starts for us. So by the time school starts, I'd like to name a starter and give him 2 full weeks to kind of, show him how we game plan, really start to game plan with them and to kind of get in a rhythm with that guy, whoever it is. This is, I've really never been in a situation like this where we have 3 guys that legitimately have a chance to win it. So, they know what's at stake. I think they all have their different strengths and weaknesses. And, luckily nowadays, during the course of the summer, you get to spend a little bit more time playing ball. Coaching ball with them. You get a little bit of meeting time. You get a little bit on the field to do some drill work with them. So I think, they're a lot further along right now than where they were this spring. And so I'm really anxious to see kind of who comes out on top of that thing.
Eric, you open with Cal, and I think it's a home game for you. And you at Washington State last year played against them, beat them, in fact. Does that experience help at all that week?
Yeah, I think so. You game plan for that defense. Here not very long ago, you saw kind of how they wanted to attack you, what worked, what didn't work. Justin Wilcox has always been really good on the defensive side of the ball. And so, the one advantage that I do think we have coming into this game is, it's going to be early September at 3 p.m. in Texas, and it's going to be hot as hell outside. And so, we're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to practice outside a little bit more in the afternoon than what we're used to in camp. And, Mike Leach would always tell me, we're soft if we want to go outside because that's not where we're going to play. And so, I'll take some of his advice, and we're going to try to get used to that Texas heat because I don't think they'll be quite used to it when they show up here in September.
You stepped into a situation where you have a lot of veteran players, and North Texas, in the era of the transfer portal, has been able, for the most part, I mean, nobody bats 1,000, to hold on to their guys really well. How much easier does that make it for you guys, especially early in the season with a new quarterback, surrounding him with guys who have been there and who have played?
Yeah, it's part of the reason I wanted this job so bad is I know Coach Luttrell. I thought Coach Luttrell did a fantastic job for the past 8 years. I mean, this is a team that played in a conference championship game just a year ago. And so, we lost a couple pieces to the transfer portal since we got here. Really the only position that took a big hit was the tight end position. Everything else, I'm super excited about what we're returning. I mean, you look at what we have up front on both sides of the ball. What we have at the wide receiver and running back positions as far as playmaking ability and guys that have actually done it in games. You look to the back end on defense. I mean, we have two corners that are extremely talented. Rich Sahada is a guy that played a lot of ball and one of the best covered corners in this conference. And so yeah, I mean, I think really tight end and linebacker are the two positions that are not proven right now. And so those are things we're going to have to get them ready to play ball during the course of camp and make sure we're ready to go with those two positions. Everywhere else, I feel extremely confident.
Eric, thank you very much for your time. How was the haircut? You get to be my age. It doesn't take long to get a haircut.
Yeah, I'm still trying to stay young and hip. I went with a little mohawk look, and I grow up my mustache during camp. My wife is not a fan of either one of them. What I've been doing for a while, and so I'll get home here in a little bit, and she'll complain at me a little bit, and just it's coming. And but that's been a camp tradition of mine for a while. I'll keep it going.
All right, I do have to ask, and I should have asked you earlier, but this is the first full football season without somebody that meant a lot to you and Mike Leach. We've had other players who have been on. I think we even back earlier in the year asked you about Mike Leach, your thought about the impact he had on your life.
Really it's hard to put into words, and you look at, how he was able to change the college football game. I mean, his thumbprint is just everywhere, and not just in the state of Texas. I mean, you look up and it's on the West Coast, it's on the East Coast. And so, not only was he impactful for the game, but, he's the only guy that gave me an opportunity to get a scholarship coming out of high school. Forever grateful for that. And then he was able to give me my first full-time job. So a guy that I owe so much to, I mean, I owe everything to, right? And he's given me my 2 breakthrough opportunities. And so forever grateful for him. And I guarantee you his legacy will continue to shine throughout college football.
Good luck, Eric. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Cal and getting to that point. We appreciate your time. Eric Morris, head football coach at North Texas, with us on 365 Sports. There are 2 or